Hi there! On today's video we're going to be taking a spreadsheet full of data and a folder full of pictures and we're going to put them together in Plytix, which is a PIM system. The PIM system stands for Product Information Management, and it's a system that helps you put all of your product information together in one place and make it accessible for all of your team. So by the end of this video we will go from a scenario that is quite messy, where the product information is on a spreadsheet and it's also on folders full of pictures, and everything will be in one location. So forget about sending multiple emails with folders and pictures attached, and go from chaos to zen moment with Plytix. Here, as you can see, is my spreadsheet, and here's my folder with the images. As you may see, there are a few images there that should go with their products, or SKUs, as you would also call them. SKU comes from stock keeping unit, and it's let's say the ID, or even the DNA of a product. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file and now I'm going to open it on my favorite file management tool, which is Google Sheets. You may ask, why Google Sheets? Well, because I like it, and it's online, it's on a cloud, and yeah, typically works well. Okay, so you may see here I have this spreadsheet with all of these products, and the first thing you may notice is that some of the products have like way more space than others, and sometimes you can even get lost on the spreadsheet. So since getting lost on a spreadsheet is not something we want to do today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply select all of these products, with patience, dragging down to the file. And then once all of the rows have been selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a resizing of the rows. And I'm going to resize them to this specific height, which is 21 pixels. Ta-da! As you may see, now it looks much cleaner. It's easier for me to navigate through my products and see that everything is where it should be. Now, something that I don't really like or enjoy when I'm working with a spreadsheet is this. When the descriptions kind of flow over some other columns, this also seems messy to me. So I'm going to fix that right away by changing the format to clip. Right, now it looks much better, much cleaner. I can actually expand this a bit if I want to see things a bit properly. But yeah, now everything is where it should be. Okay, what else? You see, suggested list price in dollars. This can be a bit messy as well. Why, you may wonder? Well, here some numbers, here some numbers with the currency symbol, and here also some numbers with the decimals. So there is a bit of a mix of the formats. Ideally, we don't want to have the currency symbol here, not just yet. Why? Well, because if we add a currency symbol, then this data cannot be validated as a number, and we want this to be a number type in our PIM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this, and I'm going to run a quick find and replace. And I'm going to find the dollar sign, and I'm going to replace it with nothing. So as you see, I was able to replace 372 instances of the dollar sign in this column. Now that everything looks like a number, what I can also do is I can give some decimal spacing. This also can be tricky. What's happening here is that this column, it's read by the spreadsheet not as a number, but as a text, because there were some dollar symbols before. So I'm going to have to change the format to be a currency, or a number at least. Now yes, you see, I have some clear numbers with the decimals, 2 positions, all looking good. Alright, let's check what else is here. I mean, the rest of the data doesn't look too bad, to be honest. As I said before, the spreadsheet was messy, but not that messy really. So it was just a bit of cleaning here and there. And I would say that this data now looks good enough for import. Of course, you may see that some data is missing here. There are some gaps. Those are perhaps things that we don't want to have right now, but that's okay. Because once we import data into the PIM, then later we can look into things such as completeness and make sure that we fill in the gaps. It's going to be much easier to do that once all of the data is in the PIM, rather than trying to fix this Swiss cheese here in this spreadsheet. So with no further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this as a CSV. I'm going to go here to download. I'm going to go to comma separated values or CSV. And I'm going to download the file. Now this file is ready to be imported into the Plytix PIM. So as you see, it says here import CSV file, and that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop it here. Now, the first thing I see is this preview, and the preview has, literally the data that I'm trying to import. So this is a way for me to know that, well, actually what I'm trying to import is what I'm trying to import. So I can simply go next because the preview looks just fine. Then I get some options here, like add new products or update only existing, set them as draft, or skip existing assets. None of this is really relevant for me right now, so I'm just gonna go to matching now. Alright, once I go into this go to matching screen, you may see that we got some columns identified, like SKU, and actually 2 out of 12 columns have been matched. That's probably because the SKU already exists in the system, so it's automatically matched. And let me guess, probably the categories as well. Let me go and find that for you. Here it is. You see? Categories. Because categories is also a system attribute, the importer is automatically mapping it for me. But well, that's just 2 out of 12. So I need to go and map the other 12. Oh, the other 10, sorry. So that was quite simple math. So as you may see here, product name. Well, I could indeed create a new value for product name, but I do know that there is something in the PIM that is called label. That's probably something I can use as the product name. So I'm just gonna go and match this to label. Then there is like, ETA on stock date. Well, that's probably create new. And when I look into the attribute types, well, since as the name says it, it's a date, so I'll go with date. Easy. Match. And just like that, I have created a new attribute in the system, and I'm gonna match it. Drain options. Well, this one, it's blank, just like the one before. So this one I may just skip, and I'm gonna go into type, because if you just skip it and it stays like this, it'll simply be ignored, so not a big deal. Type. Okay, I'm gonna create a new for type, and I'm gonna go with probably drop down, because as you saw there are so many options, but there is only one option per row, which means that it's not a multi-select, it's a drop down. So I'm gonna go and choose drop down and match. Suggested list price. Remember how I told you before that it was important that it looked good with the decimals? Well, this is why. Because now that I'm gonna go create new, I'm gonna choose decimal. I'm gonna do match. Now, when it comes to decimals, the default separator is the dot or the period. And since that's the one I'm using, there is nothing else that I need to do here. Okay, what about brand? The same. I'm gonna go create new, and I'm gonna choose, like I did before, drop down option. And I'm gonna do match. All right, product type. Great. Create a new. This is also gonna be a drop down. Match. Okay. In stock. Well, this is quite. It's a bit different from what we just saw. It may look like a drop down because it's true or false, but not quite. It's what we would call here Plytix a Boolean attribute type, which can also be referred as a true-false attribute. In this case, since true and false are both lowercase, there is nothing really for us to do. It's just following the format. Description. Well, you may see that this is a bit of a longer description, right? It has some more text on it. So I'm going to go create new. I'm going to choose paragraph. Why paragraph? Well, I mean, technically it works like a short text, but the paragraph has that extra layer of the expandable text area, right? So that comes really handy later on when you have some longer descriptions. It's nicer for the users to see. Color. Okay. I go and create. It's going to be a drop down as well. And I'm going to match this. Now, once we import, all of these options, like the color options or any other drop down option, will get automatically added. And we're going to be doing that the first time. But later we can restrict that to make sure that there are no new options created by mistake. But right now we're going to just leave it like that. Okay, so I have matched 11 out of 12 columns, and these drain options, well, shall we also create a new one for this? Sure. Probably since it's options and there's going to be more than one option, probably let's just create it as a multi-select. It won't harm. All right. Look at this. Green, green, green. That's what we like to see. SKU column identified, 12 out of 12 columns match, no duplicate attribute selected or detected, sorry. So we are good to go. Start import. Great, great. As you may see, it's 554, and that went pretty fast. Now, warning. Perfect. We have an example here to see why did we get a warning and how to identify that. So I'm going to check this warning report. And as you see, there are a few products here that got a warning. Why would that be? Now I can select here. And I can see that, hey, the suggested list price has an invalid value. It's failing because of that 1000 separator. Well, that's okay. That's something that I can go later and fix. Why? Because I can download a report here and I could go and fix those SKUs and make sure that the suggested list price is correct. But now I'm just going to keep working and I'm going to go into the assets section because now we want, now let me actually quickly show you. Here are all of these products that I just inputted. But you may see here's the information, yes. But where are the pictures? Well, we want to make sure that we also add the pictures in here. So I'm going to go into assets, all assets. I'm going to go into upload assets. And now I'm going to take this folder that was full of pictures and I'm just going to drop it there. Here they are. As you see now, the system is picking all of the pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm going to go and export this. I'm going to choose to export it as a CSV, and I'm going to choose to export the file name. You may ask, why are you exporting the URLs of the assets or pictures that you have just imported? Well, that's because we're going to use the system to automatically match the file names which contain the SKUs with the products. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to open a new tab here. I'm going to go back to File, Import. I'm going to go to Upload. I'm going to drag and drop this file that we just exported. And I'm going to choose to replace the current sheet. And I'm going to just choose to detect automatically. Import data. That should work. Okay, so here's the data. As you may see, here are the URLs. And here are the SKUs. Now, the SKUs are not just the SKU. They have this -9, -10, -2. That is referring to the position of the picture. So I'm going to pick this and I'm going to run split text into columns. And we're going to use the dash for that. Custom dash enter. Great. So now what I've done is I've cleared here all of the ones that had a dash. Now you may also see that this one particularly didn't have a dash. It had just PNG after it. So something I can do here, it's simply run a quick run and replace, for example, a quick find and replace. For this particular column, for this selection, we're going to find this PNG and we're going to replace it with nothing. Find, replace all. It's like, just to clean it. Well, there was only one instance anyways, so yeah, that was good. Okay, so now I have these URLs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to name this after SKU. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this as a comma separated values. Why? Because I have, all of my SKUs here and I have the URLs here. So I'm going to go back to Plytix. As you may see, this still keeps uploading. Not a problem. I'm going to go here into products. I'm going to go into import. I'm going to go into this file, drop it here. Again, this preview. I'm going to go next. Go to matching. The SKU is already identified. And this one, I'm going to match it with the thumbnail. Why? Because it already exists. Just for you to see how easy it is to match it with the thumbnail. I could also create a new gallery, for example. But just for the time being, I'm going to match it with thumbnail. Match, which is a system attribute for like the main picture, you could say. And I'm going to run start import. I could have done, a bit of a larger import, of course, but I don't want to have you waiting here looking at an import screen. So this will do just fine for the trick. And now you may see some thumbnails there, but hey, let's filter all of the ones that actually have the thumbnail. So I'm just going to filter thumbnail is defined. And you may see that I have these 19 products that I got imported that already have the thumbnail. So as you see on today's video, we've picked a spreadsheet full of data, a bit messy, but not really messy, like let's say standard data. We've cleaned it a bit. We've made sure that it was good for import. We've imported it into the PIM. And then we have also uploaded assets, pictures. And we've seen how easy it is by using the SKU to match together the pictures, the assets, and the products, the SKUs. Now that we have all of this product information in Plytix, the next step is to make it a bit more optimized for each of the channels and eventually send it to places such as Shopify or Amazon. And that's what we're gonna be covering on the following videos. So if you don't wanna miss out, feel free to subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. See you next time.